under the 2010 Electoral Act as amended. Is it right, we are asking, for Inec to seek a tenure elongation for the current occupants of the chairmanship and councillorship seats by interpreting the otherwise bare and harmless 2022 Electoral Act as having a retroactive effect? Can you make a law? Simply put, can you make a law today and say it should govern even people who have died 10 years ago? Laws are not made to have retroactive effect. Any day a law is made is the day that law comes into force, and that is when it becomes important. You cannot, under any guise, seek to get people bound by a law that came much after them. Issue number 3. Pray. The very essence of democracy, gives freedom to choose representation as detected by the people and the sanctity of majority rule. Does the Parliament have the right, through legislation, to overthrow the collective will of the very electorates that voted them into office, and indeed at whose pleasure they individually voted office? This is simple. It does not require any judicial interpretation if you ask me, because there actually is no ambiguity there. We were the ones that voted our parliamentarians into office. Do they have the right to overthrow our collective will as people? If it is so, even then that are there at the National Assembly, for instance, even if we want them back, we have to go through a recall process. True of us. Yes. We are the ones who have the constitutional right to recall them. They don't have any constitutional right or any legal right whatsoever to overthrow our collective rights as freely expressed on Saturday, 12th of February 2022. Now, the points to note. Number 1, please pay attention. The argument that tenure is not defined by the date of election but the date of oath of office is neither here nor there, because that appears to be the plank on which Inec is hinging its argument. Because while we grant that the coming into force of the 2022 Electoral Act preceded the date of office, we contend that the will of the people which they freely exercised on February 12, 2022 by expressly giving the current city chairman and councillors a 3-year renewable term of office cannot be overthrown by subterfuge. It is strict law that the validity of law under a democracy is derived from the people. Fundamentally, it is also beyond debate that statutes derive their potency from the will of the people, not mere words contained therein. For the benefit of Inec particularly, I'm very sorry to say this, particularly its legal department, it's way beneath the legal department of Inec to advise the commission to act in a manner as embarrassing as this. We find it very regrettable, but there is an opportunity for them to restrain themselves and make amends for the sanctity, integrity of our electoral process, and sustenance and prosperity of our democracy as a nation. Point 2 to note. We concede also that the legislature has a constitutional right and duty to make laws for good governance of the country, the FCT inclusive, but that is only to the extent that such laws derive their validity from the people whom they represent. And in this case, the people have a 3-year mandate only. What we did, the serving chairman and councillors was a 3-year mandate only. You cannot add, you cannot subtract. Anything other further than this would be ultra-wise and inconsistent with the universal meaning and principle of democracy. The third point to note, for the avoidance of doubt, we do not pray we declare an unambiguous condition of the 2022 Electoral Act, which states in section 108 subsection 1 that, and I quote, an area council shall stand dissolved at the expiration of 4 years, commencing from the date A, when the chairman took the oath of office, or B, when the legislative arm of the council was inaugurated, whichever is earlier. We don't have any problems at all whatsoever with this express provision of the 2022 Electoral Act. On the contrary, our considered position is that this law can only become operative after the expiration of the tenure of the current chairman and councillors. Is that not our position? Yes. We don't have a problem with the law. Do we? No. Do we? No. Do we? No. For a day to be added to their 3-year mandate, it is the same electorate that solely possess the competence and who are invested with the authority to do so that can validly renew a mandate. True or false? In any event, the 2022 Electoral Act didn't have the 7 chairmen and councillors in contemplation at all. And indeed couldn't have done so because laws do not go about awarding advantages to undeserving entities. There is no law that does that. You can it's unfathomable. Number 4 point to note. At this juncture, we would like to pose this simple analogy for purposes of clarification so that everybody will be satisfied with our logic or our line of reasoning. Outside of legalese, assuming Electoral Act 2022 provides for a doctorate degree as a minimum qualification for the office of an area council chairman, or that a candidate to the same office must show evidence of prompt payment of utility bills for 10 consecutive years. Would that have invalidated the election of those of them currently serving who fall short of these requirements, but we are elected based on the position of the extant statute, which is Electoral Act 2010 as amended? This is our opinion. This, in our opinion, is the farthest illogic can travel. This is simple now. They are saying, Inec is saying, that because the Electoral Act 2022 stipulates a 4-year term of office as against the mandate of 3-year term of office that we gave to them. Okay, assuming without considering that that is the position, we are asking, what if that same Electoral Act 2022 also provides that you must have 4-5 wives for you to be qualified to run for that office? We are now asking those area council chairmen and councillors who do not have 4 and 5 wives, would they have cited that? Would they have agreed to abandon their mandates because Electoral Act 2022 has required that? This is madness. No, we can't travel that. Nigeria should be united in society for us to be living in the past. Please, Nigeria should resist it. In view of the foregoing, we are sufficiently persuaded that Inec is being misdirected, possibly by its legal team. We therefore would like to use this opportunity